Yeah, I mean, this season's been a complete disaster in terms of results in particular. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about their performance on the night in due course, but 13 league defeats, as you pointed out, 37 points from 30 games. If they continue at this rate, they'll get 46 points, which is 14 fewer than last year, which was their worst ever Premier League season. So it just goes to show how bad this campaign has been from start to finish. No real pickup since Amorim's arrived. His win percentage now stands at just 41%. That's 14% less than Ten Hag's. It's really, really troubling stuff. On the night, though, Man United created 1.6 XG to Forest 0.5. Forest, aside from that breakaway goal from Anthony Elanga, which we'll come on to, didn't really create too much. I thought De Ligt, Yoro, Mazraoui at the back defended pretty well. But it's a real issue going forward, how uncomfortable they look in forward areas and the lack of creativity.
Yeah, because once again, it was in front of goal they found themselves lacking.
Yeah, we just heard Ruben Amorim say not good enough in the final third, basically. And they had lots of possession, 68% of the game, and they had 23 shots. But we can see here from this graphic, just 6 of them on target. There were a couple of close-range efforts, Maguire and De Ligt. There were headers for Casemiro and Dorgu in the box. Bruno Fernandes had a couple of goes on target, the blue dots there. But it wasn't enough to trouble this Nottingham Forest defence, who was just so good defensively. And Man United ranked 14th in the Premier League for goals scored. So it's not just a one-off that they've struggled to break a team down. This has been the story throughout the season. I think Erik Ten Hag would probably say it was a story of his tenure as well. They didn't finish the chances they had.
I'm being serious. If you look at the stats will tell you they did have a lot of possession, they had a lot of pot shots at goal. Yeah, they lacked a bit of guile in the final third and invention. And Forest were sort of hanging on at the end. When we saw the Marilla off the line, but that's where we are. It was not their worst performance of the season by a long stretch. As you can see there, we've seen stats where they've barely had an effort at goal at home. So in that sense that they're playing against a rock solid defence, one that's got Forest to third.
Yep.
That's
where we are.
That's
where we are.
That's somewhat of an improvement for Ruben Amorim, but. And true Real Madrid style, when they win the game and they find a way to win it, this United side, they find a way to lose it, and they did.
Just explain, Shaka.
You didn't like my positive?
No.
It's kind of backhanded, I'll be honest.
How bad that goal is to concede?
Well, as Elanga went on that run, and you kind of see it developing, and Mazraoui backing off, and United not really sure what to do about the counter-attack. The first thing that struck my about this whole game is nothing either surprises me or disappoints me anymore in Manchester United. Wow. It really doesn't. And I guess to that point, 5 minutes after that goal, United get another corner and Nottingham Forest break exactly the same way again. And it just speaks to that same complaint that we've levelled at Manchester United all season long. There is absolutely no leadership, certainly on the park. But right after you do the exact, nobody makes any kind of an adjustment. And that just speaks to who Manchester United have become. And now where you want to point and blame, take your choice. But that's just who Manchester United are. But you cannot, and knowing Nottingham Forest, those stats are exactly the kind of game that Nottingham Forest will play 9 times out of 10 all season long, and they're sitting, third in the table. So you are supposed to be prepared for that. You're supposed to have a plan for that. Neither do you have a plan or any ability to adjust. So credit to Nottingham Forest, because again, they do the basics so wonderfully well. They know who they are, they play to those strengths, and credit to them for it. For Manchester United, I've gone way past expecting much more than what we saw.
It's not the first time this season they've been done from their own set pieces.
That's true.
And it might have been more than one occasion they've been cut out from a corner. Maybe they don't have a set piece coach.
Maybe that's it. Go and get Arsenal.
Maybe
he's on holiday at the moment, I think.
I'm being very sarcastic because maybe it's not on the manager to organise it. I mean, surely to God, the manager and the players do take responsibility and should. But he has to set the team up to make sure the edge of the box and behind is protected for that very reason. So the buck stops with him again, and the problem is, and it happened a couple of times in this match, that it's not the first time in Premier League matches it's happened under Ruben Amorim. So if he's not seen it, what the hell's he doing about it?
Frank, last word on this to you.
Just on the goal they conceded, I think again with the guys, I agree that you have to cope with the situation before the corner. So if you make sure that in case there is a counter attack, you can cope with that. And after, I want to defend Marzaoui on that situation because he drops back because he has no other choices but doing that, because otherwise if he attacks Elanga can give the ball to his teammate which is on the left side. So he has to drop. But again, people were going to think that I have something against Garnacho. But Garnacho, if he decides to make a tackle, he has to at least get the ball or the players and make what we call a tactical foul and get a yellow card for that. But you eliminate yourself by doing nothing in a way, instead of carrying, running with the guys and with your teammate to make sure that Elanga will feel the pressure. But that's what it is. A mistake before the corner, no preparation, no plans. And then after Garnacho, and then you are 2 against 2. So Elanga can do whatever he wants, and it's what happened. So
can they really win
it's not at the... go on.
Sorry, Frank. Can they really win the Europa League? They got Leon, Frank, I believe.
Well, that's a discussion for another time.
There's a man that wants to go home.
What about the story of Nottingham Forest? It just continues as the season goes on.
This is crazy. This is crazy. And I know there'll be many out there that if Liverpool win it, will think Arne Slot deserves manager of the season. I'm thinking Nuno Espirito Santo. Yeah. This is crazy. Me and Rob Earl on the podcast have been talking about, are they going to drop out? And I'm like, you know what? I still think they got work to do. They might drop out of it. There's too much desire, there's too much excitement, there's too much passion from this team and from the manager and from the fans to let this go. Another example today, you saw Tim describe the Murillo clearance off the line. They're doing everything they can to get these points to get back into the Champions League. This is crazy. From last year, struggling from points deductions, breaking financial fair play rules and pulling a team together. Nuno Espirito Santo hasn't been there that long, really. Steadied the ship, and it's remarkable to think of Nottingham Forest. They're 10 points clear now to the 6th place club. Of course, they've got games in hand, Newcastle United, but it is going to be one of those really big stories in this league for many years.
Yeah, I mean, I think your manager of the year is coming from either Liverpool or Nottingham Forest, but I think for me, it's a great reminder because I say it all the time. There's more than one way to win a football match, and Nuno, everyone gets so caught up with the way Pep plays. Pep Guardiola plays an amazing brand of football, but it's not the only way. And Nuno Espirito Santo said, we're going to lock in at the back, we're going to defend honestly. They've been the best team defensively nearly in the Premier League. And then he said, I've got 4 guys who are committed to going to win the game. And he lets that front 4 go, and they counterattack, and they put balls in the box. It's very simple football, but as you said, they're all bought in. And I just love the fact that, again, there's more than one way to win a football match, and he's doing it his way with a group of players that people said, not really sure, they had to chop and change managers. I think he's been fantastic. This team is really bought in, and when they play at the City Ground, by the way, at home, my goodness, it's unbelievable.
And Anthony Elanga, to your point, like players that weren't really good enough for this kind of level. I mean, again, today, his goal, his run, his pace, his consistency. It's remarkable what he's doing. And others in the front line at Nottingham Forest.
With Manchester United trailing 1-0 to Nottingham Forest and needing a goal to avoid a 13th defeat of the season, manager Ruben Amorim turned to the bench. He had already withdrawn Joshua Zirkzee, scorer of 3 league goals since completing a £36.5 million move to Old Trafford last summer, in favour of Rasmus Højlund, who has contributed 13 league goals since United spent £72 million on him in 2023. With other attacking options scarce, Amorim took an approach familiar to coaches at all levels of the game: send on the big man. In fairness, Harry Maguire almost came good as a makeshift striker, his bundled effort in the 7th minute of injury time beating Matt Sales but not fellow centre-back Murillo on the goal line. Maguire registered more shots on target during his 9-minute cameo one than Zirkzee in 78-0 and Højlund after coming on at the break 0. Little illustrates United's desperation better than a 32-year-old centre-back being their most threatening weapon in the opposition penalty area. We tried with good opportunities, but in the last third, the last pass, the last assist wasn't there. Then if we don't have that, we cannot score goals, Amorim told TNT Sports after the game. This season is like that. We had a lot of shots on goal, we pushed the opponent to the last third, but in the last third we had a lack of quality. We know the characters of the Forest team, and one goal can put them in one situation that they love. We have to score 2 goals to win a match, and that is frustrating as it was the beginning of the game. We helped them to win 3 points. Goals are clearly a problem for United. They have scored 37 in 30 league games this season, and are on track to beat their lowest Premier League goals return of 49 set in 2015-16. But goals are far from the only metric that illustrates United's struggles. Are Amorim's side set for their worst Premier League campaign? Ruben Amorim's men dominated possession in Tuesday's match at the City Ground, but the third-placed hosts battled to a 1-0 win, courtesy of a stunning solo goal from United Academy graduate Anthony Elanga. And if we want to be competitive in the future, we have to start behaving like this, and we have to perform like this. Then I think the results will come in the end, but this little bit will have to come first if you want to compete for the Premier League and the biggest titles. He added, we still have to suffer a little bit, but in terms of trying to get out of this situation and trying to improve, I think we are on the right track. United host Manchester City on Sunday before the first leg of their Europa League quarter-final against Lyon in France next week.